Did you know that your stress levels and hidden chemical-laden skincare products may actually be behind your stubborn weight gain to a myriad of other symptoms? Today, we're here to talk about what happens as a consequence to our inner and outer ecosystem and daily actions that may be putting us at risk when we have too much or an imbalance of estrogen. So estrogen's key role. Estrogen gives women our beautiful hips, our breasts, our thighs, and keeps our entire body well lubricated. Estrogen also increases the health of our bones, plump skin, mood, and much, much more. You feeling it? So let's reflect for a moment on the key symptoms if you may be experiencing estrogen dominance. Symptoms are irregular periods, water retention, breast swelling, headaches, weight gain, mood swings, to even hair loss. So, how does your estrogen get out of balance? It's a great question. So, based on endocrine research, an imbalance happens in two primary ways. One is the inability to metabolize hormones. Not being able to rid our body of excess estrogen is becoming more common and is caused by a myriad of factors, including genetics, stress load, diet, and our everyday lifestyle. These may all contribute to an excess of hormones in the body, otherwise known as endogenous, external, and internal. The leading biomarker to this is if you have an optimal biological function to detoxify efficiently on a daily basis. And there are tests to learn more about your personal ability to methylate and what specific detox pathways your body engages, good or not so good. So left unchecked, a long-term circulation of these hormones can lead to an excess of certain hormones, particularly estrogen, in the body tissue. Number two is the exposure to excess hormones in our outer environment, our exposome. So exogenous hormones are hormone-like substances that can make a woman go absolutely crazy, and it's a consequence of the modern day living exposure to the hormone-like substances on a daily basis. It's the excess hormones that are obtained and coined from the word as xenoestrogens that may directly contribute to unhealthy weight gain and other health deficiencies. So tell me, how does this happen? I'm so glad you asked. So again, what are xenoestrogens? Xenoestrogens are a group of endocrine disrupting chemicals that mimic our body's natural hormone, estrogen. So normally our endocrine system releases an appropriate amount of hormones for the body to function optimally. When's the last time you really felt balanced, right? So this disruption happens because these chemicals bind to and block our natural hormone receptors. So these xenoestrogens in particular get in the way of our own estrogen receptors that keep our natural estrogen from binding, which normally would happen. This leads to higher levels of circulating estrogen free flowing in our bloodstream, known as estrogen dominance. Therein lies the issue. So in a nutshell, the more xenoestrogens we're exposed to, the more total estrogen we have floating around in our body. So mimicking estrogen's effect on weight gain in just a couple of ways. So first, endocrine disrupting chemicals target signaling proteins to make more fat cells, which can promote weight gain. Next, this can further change the energetic balance and the metabolism of ghrelin and leptin. These are the chemicals which turn on our hunger and our satiety. And we get this double-minded confusion that leads to overeating. So estrogen dominance, unfortunately, is everywhere in our environment, and it's filled with these chemicals inside and outside our home. And our bodies are consistently inundated and exposed to them. Signs of these estrogenic excess weight is usually one of the key ones, and it's usually found in the abdomen, in the breast, in the back of the arms. So the more estrogen processes, it also releases an enzyme called aromatase, which makes more estrogen. Yes, more estrogen. Are you starting to see the cycle? It's a cruel twist of biological fate that estrogen prompts the formation of more fat cells, and the cycle just perpetuates itself. Excess weight equals excess estrogen equals more fat storage. So, how about the role of stress? Cortisol is the primary stress hormone produced by the adrenal glands and can easily sabotage our weight loss. This is a biological function intended to protect us from starvation. When we experience high levels of stress, we produce high levels of cortisol, and our bodies store fat, sort of like an emergency backup plan. So if you're leading a high stress lifestyle and wondering why you can't shed those pesky pounds, despite your best efforts, finding a way to de-stress is an absolute must. Are you feeling stressed? You can address the overwhelm in a matter of seconds. And I really love the 7-Eleven breathwork exercise where you basically take a moment out of your day, you close your eyes, put your hand on your stomach, and as you take a deep breath, in for 7 and you release for 11. And you just allow your stomach to gently push your hand out and in until you've changed your state into a calm, clear, clean, quiet, powerful, peaceful mind. It's one of my favorite exercises. Try it later. I promise it'll work. So, how do we create a plan on how to improve detoxification for overall wellness and weight management? So, here's 5 steps to balancing your estrogen naturally. First off, love your liver, ladies. Your liver is responsible for metabolizing and releasing estrogen out of the body. Number 2, nutrient density. You want to eat quality protein, eat plenty of garlic and onions, take a B complex, eat a minimum of 3 cups of cruciferous vegetables weekly. They help chelate the excess estrogen out of the body. And then you want to fix your gut. Make sure that your liver processes estrogen for elimination. And it's your gut that moves it all out. So if you're experiencing constipation, there's a good chance that your estrogen isn't making its way out, but instead, unfortunately, it's going back into circulation and back into your system. So figuring out and treating the underlying cause of your digestion issues is pretty crucial in creating optimal hormonal health. And then last is eat plenty of fiber. Aim for at least 25 grams per day by eating plenty of vegetables and some fruits. Fiber will help keep your bowels regular and help eliminate the waste, just like the cruciferous vegetables I had mentioned earlier. And stress less, which will help you sleep. So 7 hours is the minimum that we all should be getting. And our bodies just need to sleep to heal and recover our hormones. So removing products is the next piece with endocrine disruptors. So front and center as a formulator, I can see firsthand how estrogen mimicking chemicals are traditionally found in our personal care products. And as I started formulating over 14 years ago, I made sure even then that none of my skin and hair care products had any hormonal disruptors in them. So I'll go deeper into xenoestrogens and beauty products on an upcoming episode, but for today's purpose, I want to leave you with just an overview of kind of the 3 top offenders that you can address immediately. So, Are you ready to take action? Grab your pen and let's bring awareness to our inner and outer everyday quote unquote trance of normalcy by an assessment, because I want us to make sure that you're informed and you know how to support your hormones in every possible way. All right, so let's jump in on the power of removing the top three. So the three most common endocrine disruptors and how to find them are the following. Number one is bisphenol A, BPA. It's a chemical that has been associated with cancer, including breast cancer. But buyer beware, these chemicals are used to replace BPA are equally concerning in regards to the negative health effects that are sabotaging our fertility, weight gain, and our painful periods. So BPA is commonly found in, believe it or not, receipts, plastic bottles, canned foods, food packaging, and more. And you can avoid them by avoiding handling paper receipts at the store, opt for a boarding pass maybe when you're traveling, avoid drinking out of plastic bottles. Please do not microwave your food in plastic, and skip the canned food and opt out for frozen and dried and get frozen and dried food instead. Next is flame retardants. So these can be a major conflict in our hormones. The tricky thing about flame retardants is that they aren't just in our couch and cushions or just our mattresses. They're also in our pets' beds, find their way in from dust in our home. They're in our baby's car seats, electronics, and even our pajamas. So you can commonly find these in mattresses, furniture, children's seats, as mentioned, pajamas, and dust in our home, also as mentioned. So the question then is, how do we avoid them? So you want to check the label on your clothes, make sure you don't touch any synthetics within the clothes if at all possible. Check the labels on your furniture, make sure when you buy new furniture that it's free of flame retardants in your furniture and your mattress, as well as your pet's beds. And try to use a HEPA air filter in your home and vacuum as often as you can to soak up the dust. And the next is phthalates. So we'll go more into this later, but if you've ever heard about fragrance, these basically are, it's a threat to your hormones. So these cause a harm to specifically the women's reproductive health, and they're commonly found in the obvious personal care products, plastic wrap, food storage, kids' toys, fragrances, anything with scent, candles, air fresheners. So you want to read the labels and make sure that the list doesn't have any phthalates or hidden fragrance, and try to eat out of glass containers, ditch the air fresheners and buy natural beeswax candles, and even ones that are fragrance free. Using detergent that's fragrance free or doesn't have any artificial scents are all good ways to avoid phthalates. So equally important to eliminating endocrine disruptors from your environment, it's good to support your body's detox pathways while addressing the estrogen dominance. So if you have skin problems, if you have period problems, if you have digestive problems, it's really worth taking these harmful chemicals and what we eat them out of and what we're slathering our bodies on with body lotions from our everyday lifestyle so that we can get our hormones back into balance. So we therefore want to minimize the waste coming in. So we do that by eating organic as often as we possibly can, avoiding the xenoestrogens from what I already discussed from our personal care products, avoid further exposure by eating out of plastic containers, and make sure that you're getting a variety of the fiber-rich cruciferous vegetables. Make sure that you're latching on to those excess estrogens or mimicking estrogens and removing them from the body. So next, you also want to make sure that you're a good liver detoxifier, and you can support detoxification and elimination and all the chemicals that are in your body with supplements such as DIM or broccoli seed extract, calcium D-glucarate, Sorry, there's a train in the background. And magnesium. So when it comes to removing these little invaders in our environment, I share a real story with Miss Julie Tebben in episode 11 and how it directly relates to the importance around beauty care products we use every day as women. And she tells the story about xenoestrogen and estrogen dominance. And, the average woman puts on 12 personal care products a day, and they contain over 168 chemicals and more. And this has a huge impact. So this 20-something-year-old woman was coming in, and she had estrogen dominance, but was so young. So they went through a full assessment of her day, and she was putting on tons of beauty products and sunless tanners and spray tans because she was a dance on the dance team. And once she started to remove those, they found out that's exactly what the estrogen dominance was coming from. So that's just a really good example of how these can really make an impact on our hormones. So there you go. It was a quick and dirty estrogen episode on the Awaken Beauty podcast. So I really want to encourage you to take some of these steps. I will leave these notes and key tips in the episode show notes, and you can contact me anytime for questions. And if you're looking for natural, organic, and solution-based beauty, hair, and wellness products that are void completely of xenoestrogens and estrogen dominant mimicking chemicals, then go to evokebeauty.com. That's EVOQ beauty.com, and make sure you type in awaken, and you'll get 25% off your first Evoke Beauty purchase. So thank you again for listening to this mini episode on xenoestrogens, and please like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And make sure you leave a comment on what you learned. And please, 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 please share it with a bosom buddy and a woman, a girlfriend that you know, and update them on what they should know about chemical messengers coming from the world around us. Thank you again. And this is Cassandra signing off.